Okay, so we are going to look at the further development on the Business Application Studio. We have seen how we bring or register our cloud ABAP Cloud instance onto our Eclipse, and now for your information, I um, I I have replicated all our TH tables and CDS views onto um, this BTP ABAP account. So if you want to build wrap up CDS views on top of this one, and you are most welcome to do that. Okay, so we have a package created. Let me open that one. I think Z Tara. Um, let me look up for that package. Yep, Z Tara BTP ABAP. So if you look at this package, we have all the dictionary tables and CDS views that I have created, including the metadata extensions. Okay, these two tables we created. So here, not all the ABAP types, ABAP data elements are available. I think even I'm not 100% sure how these data elements are replicated onto this one, as we are using the SAP's demo or trial package, trial system. Whatever they have published or made as available, they all are supported at this point, but not all the data elements are recommended at this place whenever we try to use that one. And same thing, like coming to the annotations point of view, not all the annotations are allowed to use in this ABAP instance that we are using at the moment. I think if in productive versions of ABAP instances, they might be released for customer to make use. For example, the annotations that I was looking at is the consumption dot value help, for example. So this consumption dot value help is not released for customer. That's what I saw while I was making changes. Right now there are no errors on this one, but when I was replicating the CDS views from our system, uh, I ended up with a lot of lots of errors. So I had to manually look at them and correct all of those annotations that we have implemented into our CDS views. So if you look at this consumption dot value health, for example, let me go here. This is metadata extension, and so I have created the country value help CDS for our usage. That's okay. Where is this one? Yeah, so the development using this ABAP Cloud is going to be the RAP, ABAP RESTful application programming. And so in this example, what I realized is this is not supporting the way how we develop using the BOPF objects. So BOPF is not supporting on this particular instance. So RAP is the only way that we can develop the transactional applications on our BTP ABAP BTP ABAP instance. So in the wrap, when we talk about wrap, I think we will enter there in a little time. But meanwhile, I was just trying to show you this one. So ZI country help. So if you see here, we have left the types of CDS views, that data definitions that we created, define root view entity, and define associations to parent and composition. So we are using those annotations here, the syntaxes. So these are introduced as part of a wrap application development. So the composition here is the annotation that we write in our BOPF programming model. So we had to manually include the association in our entity projection entity, and then we had to mention some object model annotations, such as object model dot association dot type. The type is going to be the and the association type is going to be composition to composition child or to composition parent and root. So these are the associations we had to mention at this place. But this one is whenever we use composition, this statement itself identified as its child. And it doesn't mean we shouldn't have the associations. We can have associations, but they are not going to be treated as its children. And if you look at this one here, so we have defined view entity, and in this place, association to parent, this is not going to be the child, and association to parent, this is what the syntax, the relationship we are going to build. And as part of entity publishing here, we will be having that alias name in the entity, otherwise it's not going to be considered. So using this keyword, we are avoiding the object model annotation here, and the framework itself is going to identify, okay, so there is a relationship built between these two. That's how it's going to be. And if you miss if you miss child, the composition here, or the parent in this place, so you will be receiving warning or respective errors saying, okay, so you are saying this is the parent, it's going to be the parent of this one, or you have mentioned this is going to be its a child, but there is no parent statement in your child CDS view. That's what CDS entity, that's what it's going to report a message. So let me write this small association. So association, it's going to be 0 to star 2, and I'm going to write on this value help as country on projection dot. So this is all going to be same, we don't need to worry much about it, and we have a very well detailed documentation as well, where we can even copy the examples. I'll show you how we do it. Association on, what is this one, from country equals to underscore country dot country. It's going to be country. Yeah, And I thought of using this association. I'm publishing this one here, exposing this, and also I am going to include this at this place as my value help, like we did in our BOPF based implementations. So consumption dot value help. So I'm using this as country here. So if you see this annotation, we are pretty much aware that whenever we have consumption dot value help, we can give the association name so that it's directly going to give us the value help whenever we integrate this with UI5 application, the list based report or something. But in this case, if you see use of annotation consumption dot value help is not permitted, the bracket not released. So this annotation is not released for this. What I'm guessing, not sure completely, not available for a BTP instance, or as we are using the SAP's trial one, if uh, all the annotations are released and people can make use of this one as a productive and they can build their applications, right? So as part of their trial release, they might have restricted of this usage. That's what I am guessing. I'm not sure. So likewise, if you are if you are coming across with such limitations, then just avoid using that and move forward with alternatives if we find any such things. But by this, what I understood is the RAP development, even we have the proof as well. So it is still evolving and not completely supporting all the functionalities, the RAP application development. So by provided, so it's a better or safe for us to go ahead with the BOP based approach for another couple of releases. So that's what I feel. Or if you have complete functionalities available using the RAP, then it's perfectly all right. You can go ahead and use your RAP development approach. So for now, I'm just commenting this out. Don't want to go for that. Okay. So perfect. Let me activate this one. And how do we proceed? Okay, after this. So we know if we wanted to create a OData service, and straight away we will be going ahead and writing our OData annotation here and OData.publish true, so that the OData service will be generated. SADL based service will be generated, and we were going to maintain that in our service catalog, and from there we'll be taking it to the UI5 application development using templates. But at this point, we do not have any GUI availability on this particular ABAP instance. Okay, so how do we take this one? So I have a suggestion to go into the documentation. So we don't even need to remember the URLs at this point. Okay, so ABAP RESTful programming model. Just click on this one, open the URL that comes. Not this one, the ABAP RESTful programming model. Yes, so this is the one which we are looking at. SAP ABAP RESTful application programming model. So let me allow someone. Okay. So in this documentation, we have everything made clear. So in this diagram itself, we can understand many things, how the architecture of this wrap has been designed and etc. If you see here, the left side, we see data modeling and behavior. Okay, if I take my mouse, it's going into the faded color. I avoid that. In the left side, if you see data modeling and behavior, and then the blue layer, you see business service provisioning, and the top layer is going to be the service consumption. So again, coming to the right side bottom, we have two things specified here: business objects, again, where we have the CDS data modeling, that we know how to model our CDS views, considering our business requirements and the technical availabilities. And this is the new one which we have here: behavior definition, BDEF, behavior definition. And through this behavior definition, we will be going to achieve the CRUD, the transactional behaviors, and also including the actions. That's what we are going to learn on this particular one, behavior definition. And on the to support the behavior definitions, we need ABAP as a language for behavior implementation. So this behavior definition, it is going to be a small keyword mentioning in the behavior definition file. It's going to be kind of another object we will be creating on top of our CDS view. In that one, sometimes we will be using EML based keywords. That again, it is a new introduction in the wrap way of doing it. Entity manipulation language, EML. And on using that one, we will be and sometimes we will be using the EML language in ABAP as well. So that's going to be a simple language, no need to worry about it. And if you see the right side in the CDS data modeling queries, so this again, it's the same for implementing the analytic queries and the analytic capabilities through the annotations. And once we are done with the modeling and the queries, whatever analytic capabilities, everything, and then we will be going to the business service provisioning layer. And in this layer, if you see, there are three major areas. The top one is going to be the service binding, where that is what the entry point to this objects and service definition. And underneath it, we have business object projection. So here we will be having the next layer of our consumption views or projection views, behavior projections, and ABAP behavior implementations. So here the bottom layer, they are just going to be the definition kind of thing, and the business service provisioning layer is going to be a similar. And if it and business object projection and business objects, these two, how we can look at is interface layer and consumption layer. So like that, we can segregate as we pretty much know what is going to be the interface or basic layer and the consumption layer. We can treat these two boxes in the same manner. And once we have this, we have a service definition, and this is also again going to be the another object we will create based on the CDS view that we have built as a consumption. The behavior is an optional thing for us. So behaviors, if we want some transactional behavior, we can include the behaviors. Or if we don't want any of the behaviors like the create, update, delete, or such functionality, or if we don't have any actions as well, then in that case, we do not necessarily need to have a behavior created. Let's say if we are thinking to publish this only as a service, as a OData service, there are no actions involved. it's going to be only a read access on our CDSU that we built, then there is no behavior involved in this process at all. And next, going to the service definition. Yes, so the service definition also built on the consumption CDSU. We will be exposing the scope, what all needs to be part of our OData service. And on top of that, we will be creating service binding. So this service binding is going to be the one entry point, and we include the service definition in the service binding. And this service binding refers to a service group. Okay, so here we will be choosing the service binding. We will be choosing whether we will be serving the purpose of, if you see on the green layer here, the service consumption, SAP V4UI consume OData UI service or web APIs. So these are the use cases or the consumer types which we will be specifying in our service binding. Okay, so I'm creating the service binding. Who is my consumer, whether is going to be my Fiori application, and then the SADL needs some understanding. Okay, based on this, so do something else in the system settings, like we publish publish true, how it generates automatically the SADL capabilities like that. So this is a configuration kind of thing based on the consumer type. So if we don't want any OData and Fiori capabilities, then just, so I mean the UI annotations, whatever we write, if we don't want to do that, then just publish this as a web API. Or we have some other kinds as well that we have seen a little bit, but as part of this one, we will be entering into the system, and we will see some how we create the service behavior, service definition, and service binding, and etc. We will see that. Okay, so now let's see. This page is very much important for us, so we don't need to go anywhere for the help on this RESTful application programming. We have very detailed documentation available in this page. So in the left side, if you see, we have all this learn, start, develop, extend, test, and consume, CDS annotation, everything on single page. Okay, so if we want to develop, just expand this develop, and if we want to develop applications, develop web APIs, develop UI specific APIs or UI specific services. So whatever the category we are intending to do according to our business requirements, we can choose that, and we can look at the feasibilities. And also there is a first topic here, development constraints. So this is what always we must be looking at, as the product itself is under maturity levels. It is evolving itself own, and there are a lot of constraints mentioned in this particular page, if you see. So these are all the constraints which we need to read through before we accept some of the requirements, if we are considering the wrap way of development. Okay, so if you see here, UI dot create hidden, and these are all not allowed for OData V2 versions. Okay, we have both feasibilities. Using wrap, we can publish them as V4 OData service or V2 OData service. We can do both of them according to our consumer, whoever our consumer is going to be. If they are specific about V4 services or V2 version services, then some of them needs to be considered. So if our consumer is going to be V2 version consumer, and they wanted this UI created hidden and etc., so these are not applicable for V2. That's what that's how we should be looking at this particular one. Okay, And here, if you see, there is some limitation on large objects. Large objects, wrap runtime engine for V4 request having a expand class, where select class is stated for the expand entity that contains the property SAP messages explicitly. Some detailed, whenever we enter into that one, whenever you use $select in your queries, then you need to be careful when doing it. So this information, the message, whatever we get, that might be different whenever we enter into the development and doing it. And it may be worth, along with that, checking in this page about the development constraints. So whereas this is going to be updated by SAP rapidly. Okay. So now let me go into this develop applications, and here, if you see, developing read-only list reporting applications. Okay, managed transactional applications, unmanaged transactional applications. Wherever we say unmanaged, so we will not be having any control. The framework will be generating all the code for us. So managed, we will be able to manage the implementations. So we will not be going to the transactional behavior for this one. I think we may consider going into it, but I'm not sure when to go into that one, as we do not have any data in our database tables at the moment. Those we have created. We might need to define the behaviors, but defining CDS views. So if you see here, we have all the examples. So this DMO/DMO is the object namespace that SAP has provided. If we are looking for any specific examples that we are not aware of, we can straight away go into this DMO namespace and pick up those objects, whatever we are intending to look at as a reference. So for example, if you see here, there is some CDS view. We can straight away go ahead and if you see, there are abstract entities created. Okay, so likewise, what is the object name here? Yes, iFlight R. So let me look at this one. Yeah, we have this one. So this is how this is being provided access from this website itself. So based on this, we can learn further on this particular wrap way of development. But in our case, let me go into our CDS view, and let me publish or create a service binding without a behavior, at least. So yeah, I'm on the right one. Let me right click on this one. So if you right click on this one, we can see whatever the possible options. So if we want to create a new definition depending on that particular selected CDSU, we can do that. It will take as a reference. If you want to create new access control, we can do that. If you want to create new metadata extension to that one, we can do that. And also, if we want to create new service definition, so this is what we are going to do at the moment. And after service definition, we will be creating the service binding. The service definition is the first, and then it's going to be the service binding on top. Okay, and if we want to create new service behavior definition, if you see here, we can create new service service behavior definition. But let me create service definition first. So service definition, let me go ahead and okay, so this is how the service definition is going to look like for us. So let me finish it. Perfect. So at this place we have automatically popped up with this information that expose this as an entity set. So let me activate this one. I'll come to this one again. So as we know that from this diagram, so if you are working on RAP, just keep this diagram in mind. So right now we have created service definition, and now as we see here, service binding is on the top. So we will create service binding on top of this service definition. So let me right click on this one. If you see here, there is new service binding available. And if you don't want to right click on this one, it is possible to create from the package as well. So, but if you go through the package, then you need to give your service definition manually on which service definition you want to create a service binding. That's what we need to remember. So if you see here, service definition and service, where is the service binding? Service definition and service binding. If you see, if you go with this way, you need to select the service definition here. So if you browse for this one, from here you need to choose your service definition. Let me do that. So this is my service definition. That's fine. I'm giving my service binding here ZTH. Yeah, is this service, and this service binding actually going to be based on certain namings, as we have multiple options to create our service binding. So in this case, we might need to consider renaming or things, naming the things for easy identification. So in this case, let's say we are going to create V2UI, okay, or V4UI, whatever we can pick, as we have UI annotations as well in this one. So let us pick V4UI and ZTH service V4 UI, for example, V4 UI. V4 service. So let me go ahead. Okay, finish. So the service binding will automatically come here with this information. Where is this one? I think, okay. So did I activate this one? Activate the service definition. It is activated, and let's go here and let's activate this service binding as well. So let me publish this one. So in general, when we work on our on-premise system, so this is going to be a little different. We will have a separate transaction code where we will be going and publishing our V4 or V2 service groups. So whenever we create a service binding here, so this is referred as service group in the backend system. So we need to manually go into the transaction code and we need to publish the service group. Then only it will be published and it will expose the entities that are defined in the service definition. Okay, we can have a number of services into a service group. So the capability of this concept, the wrap concept, or publishing these services, we can even have the cross service navigations within a service group. So that's what the motto or idea towards this wrapped way of doing it. And once this is done, I think as we do not have the transaction code or a GUI access on this ABAP instance for us, we will not be able to look at that one. But instead, we will be looking at on the system that we have, whereas that is capable of publishing the services using those transaction codes. We can build V4 data services in our demo system, and we can publish the services, and we can use those services as well. So if you see here, the service has been published and it is ready for use right now. So once you click on this one, this is the entity set and associations. So if you carefully see that the association on this one has not been published. Okay, so that is the level of control has been put on this particular way of wrap service group publication. So if you look at your definition, the service definition, we have exposed only this particular C header. So if we want to publish the association as well, then we need to include our items consumption CDSU as well. So this is what we are saying, the items association from our header. Let me expose this one as well. So now let us activate this one. And also here we have a feasibility to rename this one as trip header, and also we can rename this as trip items. So let me activate my definition and let me go into the binding. Let me refresh it. So if you see here, they all have been published into this entity sets. So right now we have another capability provided on this particular wrap, is that we can select an entity here and we can preview the results if it has any data on it. And this is not the application. This is not the application itself. We won't be able to deploy or do anything. This is just for preview purposes. But the actual application has to be generated using one of the application development tools, such as Web IDE or Business Application Studio. So they have to be used to generate the applications and deploy onto the respective systems, whether it is BTP or on-premise system. But if you are keen to know or look at the preview how your application looks like, then we can go ahead and use this preview button, whereas it will show us the preview of that application and the field groups and facets arrangement that we have configured or defined in our metadata files. So as we have the metadata extension file attached to this, so we are sure that yes, we are publishing this service UI service as a UI service. This is not a, web API. It's going to be a UI API. So not sure. It is taking some time. Maybe. And also there is no data as well in our database tables, but at least I'm expecting to see the layout that what are the selection fields that we have defined and what are the columns that we have defined in our metadata extensions. I would like to see that, but it's not loading. Not sure what's the reason. And what is it? Trip header line item C from country? Not sure. Duplicate ID. Is it because we have come on. We have let me comment this one first. Oops, the comment is not applicable, it seems. Let me activate this one. So we have from country in both the entity sets, right? And also they are relative. It seems that is the reason. Yeah, we have only trip header right now. And let's see how it works at least now. Come on. Okay, is it causing issue again? It says same error, trip header list from country. Not able to understand that one, but that's okay. So if you try using this one, I'll look at that one, why it is causing issue. But if you want to try with the examples that we have, the steps or something here, if you try to implement some application using this DMO namespace objects, it's a welcome actually. So you can go ahead and develop the applications. The only thing we needed to have a background is we need to know how we develop the CDS use. So in this case, we have that knowledge. So we know how to develop the CDS views. And on top of that, we know what needs to be done. Behaviors, if we have any behaviors, we will be creating behaviors. Otherwise, we will be just going to create a service definition on binding, and we will publish that binding group, and after that we will be having a preview of it. And once we publish that particular service group, the next step, how we are going to bring that onto our business application studio. So as we do not have WebIDE at the moment on this BTP, and that is not a way going forward as well by SAP. And Business Application Studio, we have seen the instance creation and the capabilities as well. I could have started this instance when we started. It takes some time now. Let me see. Come on. So continue working. So I have bookmarked my Business Application Studio, but that's okay. Let me come here and launch it again if that's not working. Business Application Studio here. Same. I think it's not responding. Come on. Okay. This is also stopper for us. Okay, fine. Yeah. Let's come back. Let us start this instance. Let me start and wait for it to be running state. And meanwhile, what I would do, I'll just go to our view that we have created. I think, okay, so this has built up with the transactional behaviors, and I won't be able to do that. But yeah, see header. So I would like to create this in our package. So Jetara package. Let me go ahead into this one. Do I have one here? Okay, that's fine. So this is again with transactional behaviors. I don't want any transactional behavior, but instead ZTH wrap C header, and go ahead. Let me create. So don't get confused, as that was starting. I was just doing creating this in our practice system. So if you want to refer this one, you can go ahead and refer this particular one. And I'm creating this as a root entity. Let me copy as it is. I don't want to make any changes because everything is same. And we are selecting from the table. So select from this one and items. So let me comment the compositions first. Otherwise, we will be ending up with some errors. Okay, and here, what do we have on this one? I think we have used something else. So for consumption value help, country value help. Okay, and also let me use this one. Define a root view entity. I see some warning here. Key. Okay, and this th header. What is the key of this one? Let me make it trip h. And so that we have this one. We don't have a field called changed. The spelling is different. So we have the root entity created in our system. That's perfect. And now let me create the child. New data definition. Set wrap C items. Go ahead. Now next, define view entity with the two parent association, whereas we have already the template. That's perfect. And select from, this is going to be ZTH trip AI, and association to parent, not this one. Close that one. This is my parent. I'll give my parent here. The association name is going to be underscore header, and the element name is going to be trip ID. Again, the trip ID, projection dot trip ID. And my projection is going to be, again, I'll copy it from my define to parent association. So let me copy this one. And what is the, I think the trip item, it's going to be the item ID. And I think it is saying key definition trip item is missing in key of ZTH. items. So how is the key field? Trip item MANDT. That's okay. And let me activate this one. So this has been activated. And now let me go back here and activate this composition. See, that's not the name, and this is what is going to be the name. And if you see here warning, it says you said it is a parent, but there is no composition defined in your parent CDS view. So let me define it now and activate the items here. Okay, this is perfect. So now we have established the both way both way communication. And let me remove this for avoiding the confusion. Okay. And now what we need to do is we will need to build the metadata extensions. And whereas we already have the metadata extensions and we can copy them as it is, and we can use them. So this is the header. Where is this sitting in my system? Yeah, and let me right click on this one, initiate creating the metadata extensions. And before that, I need to ensure I have my metadata extension allowed annotation is specified in my CDSU. So here also I need to do that. That's good. So let me activate both of them together. Wrap. So both of them are activated. Now let me go into my RAPC header and create new metadata extension. So this metadata extension, I have this already. I will copy it from the Cloud ABAP instance, whereas I have enhanced with some additional facets as well. So ZTH wrap ME, I would say metadata extension header. So metadata extension header, that's okay. And there is no change in the way that we enhance or create the metadata extensions. Let me put the customer layer, and let me go here into my cloud, and let me see my metadata extension, and I would like to copy as it is. So let me do that. Okay, and also we close this service definition and the service binding, and also a few of them. This is for items. DMO, close that one, and also close the table. IT. Okay, ME header. Now I'll pick my metadata extensions that I have for header. Let me take all of them to here. So just see if there are anything errors reported. No errors reported. Then just activate it. Yep, header annotations are activated. And now let me look at my items, RAPC items, and create new metadata extension. So let me rename this items, metadata extensions items. Go ahead and create for me. Seems it's taking some time. Yeah, it is. It may eat up our one minute of time. It is running, but I do not want to switch into this one and confuse you easily. Let me complete this task first. Yeah, perfect. Here we go. We need this one as well. Let me keep login and okay, annotate entity, and we have the entity created. See items and metadata items. Items. Come on. Okay, and where is this one? Go ahead and insert all the metadata extensions. That's perfect. So let me activate this one as well. So we are not doing anything. We are doing repeating things that we did already, but in terms of wrap. So keeping our wrap in mind, we are doing all these extra things. So let me close this one and also this one and also this one. Okay, so we are completely on our practice system, our training system, and we have this package Z_wrap created for us. And let me delete this one for no confusion and finish. So that was deleted. That's perfect. So now we have only two consumption views and two metadata extensions to this one. Now I'm going to create a service definition for my header, new service definition, and ZTH trips group, I would say. Service group or whatever the service we are going to create, it's going to be V4 UI. Let's say we are going to create V4 UI service V4 UI. Nope, this is not the group. Service definition. header service definition. Let me go ahead and next. Yes, this is what the service. So where is this? Okay, so as trip header, let's say, and let me activate the service definition. Service definition has been activated, and let me right click on this one and create new service binding here. So ZTH, and this time I'm going to pick up this trip V4UI. Okay, and here I'm going to pick up V4UI. V4UI group, and this is what my service definition. Let me go ahead then finish it. And okay, so let us activate the service binding, and it has been, the activation has been finished, but it has not been published yet. Let me publish this one. If you see, we won't be able to publish this group from here. So whereas in our ABAP Cloud, SAP made that as an automated process, but in our case, we have to go to our backend system and launch a transaction code /n/IWFND Gateway Foundation, and then V4_admin. So this is where we go ahead and publish our service groups. So here I have already one, but I want to publish my group. In this groups, I'll just go ahead and find out the plus button that available on the top here. If you see, publish service groups. So if you click on this one, we will be giving the system alias. So this is the process like we do for our service catalog registration as service registration in our service catalog IWFND main service. Like that, we have separate process for V4 service registrations in our system. So V4_admin. So let me click on enter. So I see my service group has been displayed here, and also I can see all my trip definitions. Sorry, services that are exposed, the entity sets or services, whatever I have been exposed, the definitions. And let me publish this one. So I will need to choose a transaction. That's okay, anything is fine. New service group has been published. And if you see in my service groups, I see trip V4UI here. Okay, and if you double click on this one, I see my service as well. And in the service, we have a service test here available. And if you click on this service test, it directly takes us to the gateway client. And in that gateway client, if you see, the URL is completely different than V2. So V2, we will be having OPU, OData, and then our service name, then the entity sets and etc. But in this case, if you see SAP OPU OData 4, and then our service group, if you see service group, and this is some predefined path by SAP again, and this is what our service definition, what we are trying to execute, and what is the version of it, and this is going to be the version of that one. So if you try to execute right now, the metadata has been selected here, metadata URI operation, and if you see, we see the metadata here. Okay. So, and again, if you go into the entity sets of this one, so we see the trip header as entity set. So that whatever we have exposed using our service definition, that is going to come as an entity set here. And if we want to make our items to be part of it, and we can do that as well. And if we go ahead and expose rapc underscore items, so these are the entities as trip items. So once we publish the service group, then we do not really need again to republish this group. The service automatically reflects the information or the additional entities that we have added onto our service definition. If you see, just refreshed, and it is reflecting all the information here. And same thing, if we go ahead and refresh the metadata here, and we should be able to see the entities here, trip header and trip items. So if you look at this trip header, and from this point, it's all our ground. So whatever we want to do, we can straight away go ahead and we can do the things what we wanted. Okay, and in this point of view, that is what we do at the V4 service group publish and testing the V4 service on the gateway client. But without needing that, we can still come here and select one of these published entities and their associations as well. We can see clearly in the preview itself, which is our service binding. So in the service binding, we can see them clearly. And if you click on any of them, and if you choose a preview here, it will ask for the backend login. So we have now we are going to see the preview of that application. Okay, so this is straight away coming from our V4 V4 OData, I mean the UI based API publication here. So this app we haven't generated yet, but this app has been generated as a preview for us from this preview button from service binding. How this has been generated, that is completely depending upon the metadata extensions that we have made on our CDS views. So in this point of view, if the differentiation and going forward, how we would be proceeding or changing our development approaches. So this sometimes your customer may be very much specific about V4 OData service developments, and this is how we utilize developing our V4 OData services based on UI. And if we don't want to make it as UI, then obviously we have an option while creating our service group. We will be choosing it to be a V2 UI or V4 Web API. So that is according to our business requirements, how we want to deal with it. Okay, and also if you are you have been asked to develop any OData service that is going to be a read-only one way with reporting and things like that. So just prefer to do it in this way, whereas we can avoid going back to the IWFND and service catalog maintenance and additional capabilities that are coming along with this way of publication. And for application generation, and this is not going to stop us to build or generate application. Again, we can straight away go ahead into the web IDE. We can still make use of this V4UI that we have developed. And also in the preview, we can see the navigation as well. So if you click on this one, whatever the association that we have specified on our service binding, the same association is going to be called, and it's gonna display us how we defined our association there. And again, if you see, you can still go further and see the information. This is how we have written defined our facets and sections on our items metadata extension CDS view. Okay, so yeah, the same way, this is not the real application that we can deploy from here. So we can have a preview. I'm repeating this again. This is just a preview, and from here we won't be able to generate any application. But if you come here into the web IDE or whatever you are using as your development tool, UI5 application development tool, you will be coming there. As we do not have visibility of our system onto Business Application Studio, I'm not using Business Application Studio for this. As we are developing applications on web IDE, we are doing it here. But if you are developing this this kind of application using your ABAP Cloud instance, then obviously you will have an option to generate application using Business Application Studio. So we will do that, as we have published our V4 service there. So we will see how we will generate from there as well. So let me go into web IDE and create from project template, and again choose the list report. Go ahead and ZTH planner V4. Let me name it V4. So trip planner V4, and let me click on next. So here we will be choosing our system, and so here how we will be finding our service. So that's what we will be worrying or needing to know about it. But we don't have the service definition to be published there. So it's the service group which will be published and visible in the come on, in here, or ZTH. Nope, even this is missing. The config is missing, so we are not able to see that service here. System config is missing for V4 publication. Okay, but to overcome that one, what I can do is, so but it's a basis will be doing that, so no need to be worry about it, as we are doing all our configurations on our system. I may need to look at that one, but whenever we create another binding, let me create another binding on this particular service definition. New service binding, we can have a number of service bindings. So in this case, I'm going to V2 service binding, trip V2 service. Okay, and here I'm going to choose V2 UI. Go ahead, and even if you are building any V2 OData services, again you can consider this approach of doing or building your V2 OData services. So let me activate this one. So as soon as you activate this one, I think we will be able to publish this one. So if you publish this one, it's automatically gone ahead and published for us. So for V2 services, we do not even get into the V4 admin where it is specifically for V4. And in this case, this service group has been published automatically whenever we create this V2 service binding. So let us go ahead and see if we are able to get this one. We should be able to get it, as this is V2 OData service, V2 UI, V2 UI. Let's go ahead and choose the system. And if you see here, I'm able to see my service group here. So whatever I have published, so there are some settings missing for V4. I'm not pretty sure about it, but we'll have a look at it. And in this place, we have the number of entities that have been published here, and we have some currencies, unit of measures. They are all coming as a common on this particular one. But apart from that, we see all the entities that are involved as value help and etc. Everything has been published. That is how even if we go and register our OData service in our service catalog, V2 OData service catalog, then all these entities we will be able to see in our entity sets list. So in this case, trip header is going to be our entity set, and from here onwards, we know how we will be taking this application here. So just selecting 2 items and go next and finish it. So V2 UI has been finished. And if you go and look at it in your manifest, and it's not your, there will be no like underscore CDS or underscore SRV, such extensions on this one. So it's straight away a service group that has been published, the latest wrap way of doing it, or wrap way of publishing the V2 OData services. So from here, we will not be having any differences. Okay, so if you even go ahead into the preview or execute of this application, let us go ahead. Okay. Okay, let me give my backend credentials. The page was not found. What was that? Come on. Metadata, and I think annotations, they are dynamically going to get it. But I have tested this one, it should work. Okay, at least let us see, go ahead and see the preview if you are able to get the preview at least. on this one. Or web IDE might not be supporting that V2 generation, or even preview is not available. Adding element with duplicate ID. What is that? Trip header action. What is this? Okay, let me go back to my service definition and let me remove this one. Maybe this is causing some issue. Let's see. V4UI. Yeah, this is activated. Yeah, this is reflected. 2 items. So there was something exist with the trip header, I think. So that might be causing issue for loading the application. But in this case, let me run this again. I think the manifest is not going to be refreshed. The entity set name, that may cause some issue if I'm right. So right now it is just trying to get all the annotations and prepare a UI for us on the fly. Yeah, so this entity set, everything has not been refreshed, and still it is referring to trip header somewhere. Yeah, so this is the one, and so entity set is not going to be trip header, that I'm sure. Let me delete this project. Delete. Let me recreate it. So let's report V4UI. Next, and backend system V4UI, and next. Yeah, actually we do not need to select anything. No harm, please select as well. Okay, so this is not reflected with the right entity sets. Let me reload web IDE. It is still taking time to load our preview. Let me see if there are any issues. Unknown entity set, perhaps C header. What is this? Nope, that will never happen. Let's try this time. If that doesn't work, then yes, we are doing wrong. The process, what we are doing is that's absolutely correct. V4UI. V4UI and backend system V4UI. Let's see. Come on. It is still not reflected with the trip header. Sorry, the information. Let me check here. Where is that service group is going to be? service groups. No, that is going to come here. That was V4UI, V2UI. So where is this? V2UI is going to be this one, and let me go to gateway client. Entity sets, still it is referring as trip header. And load metadata. Come on. Are we explicitly saying somewhere trip header, trip items? No, somewhere it is not reflecting, but here if you see this is reflecting. Let me unpublish it and also republish this. Okay, now it has been republished. Let me clean up cache and the current service. So let me go to perfect. Now we see the latest entities here. Okay, so good. So let me click on the preview right now. So that's perfect. So we have, but we don't have this field selection. Not sure something going wrong again on this one. Here, yeah, that's fine. But let me go into our web IDE and generate a project. V2UI and select this one and V2UI. So let me see. Oh, come on. This is what happens. Load metadata. Metadata has been loaded successfully, and so this is the last try. If this doesn't work, that's fine. So V2UI and go ahead with this one. V2UI. So somehow it is keeping the information itself somewhere. Not sure where it is keeping, but it's going to report an error message. The entity set not found something. No. See, so that is what, because it's not reflecting the information onto this one, but we have the entity set, everything has been reflected on our metadata as well. Okay, so it's the same way, somehow it is not reflecting, but that's fine, we will leave it there. And here we see in the preview it's not picking up the metadata extensions as well, whereas we already have the metadata extensions created on this particular OData service. I think I have picked V4UI. Yeah, V4UI. That's perfectly fine. Which we wanted to pick it up. The right option we have picked up, and still it is not reflecting us. Just try yourself one more time. So now we understood how we publish V4 OData services on top of our CDS developments on our on-premise system, and V2 services as well. And also we have seen how we publish our V4 services on ABAP Cloud environment as well. So now let us try generating a template based application using our business application studio. So come on. So the service group that we have published is, let me close all of them. And yeah, TRL, this is the one, this is the service binding we have created. Let me copy this one, and here let me refresh our business application studio. Seems it is taking, yeah, that's the reason it is keep loading. Yeah, it's loading. So we'll do this exercise and we will close for today. Come on. Can't do anything, but if you click on this one, file, new project from template, let's go with that. Again, it's the same page. Yeah, if the tool is delayed, we can't do anything. We have to wait. Come on. I don't have any projects. And meanwhile, if we look at this, the left side toolbars here, so we have different things available here. So this is what is going to be the development workspace explorer. Whatever the project we create on this business application studio, they are going to be in this explorer. So that project, whatever we create using template or whatever, that is going to come into this explorer. And if you want to set particular thing across our workspace within this entire business application studio, we will be using this one, and this one is going to be the Git repository. So where we will be having our original source code control for all the developments that we do using business application studio, and this is going to be the debugging and running of the application, and this is going to be the extensions, and these extensions are open source. If we want any XML parser or JSON parser or something like that into our application, then there will be a set of extensions available, and we can pick from those extensions. So we can search like XML parser or something like that. They are all developed by the developers, the enthusiasts like us. So they have placed these extensions in the store, in the extension place of this Visual Studio Code. From there, all those extensions are loading, and if we want these extensions as a library into our workspace or into the business application studio, we can install and make use of them. And if you see here, if your customer place, they are using business application studio and they do not have the SAP Fiori tools on their Visual Studio Code. So as we have seen, the business application studio is same as Visual Studio Code as well. So if you start working on Visual Studio Code, the look and feel, everything is the same as it is. And but what we will be missing there is SAP Fiori tools. So SAP Fiori tools. So this SAP Fiori tools, they are straight provided by SAP itself, SAP EAG, as we are running on the SAP product. So we are not able to see the SAP Fiori tools here. If you start typing, searching on SAP Visual Studio Code, definitely you will be able to get those extensions. And if you see, there is something BAS extras. So if you want to install this one, and it will tell us what are the functionalities it's going to do, and etc., including the screenshots and process. Okay, download and install, and what it additional functionality includes, and etc. So if we feel that that is helpful, and we can install this extension and we can use it. So going forward, when you start working on this one, you will know what this extension and how we will be using it. So sometimes we might be ending up needing some additional packages to support our functionality. So like Chrome extensions, how we have, if we want to see the JSON files in proper format, we will be needing an additional extra extension on Chrome as well. So similar to that, so here we have the extensions available here. So these extensions, some of the extensions, so in the Eclipse, whenever we say we press Control space, we get the key field. How we are getting that key field? So that is because there are some behind extensions or installed packages or installed libraries supporting us. So similarly, if we want any help towards our development process of the application, so that is where these extensions will help. Otherwise, these extensions are not going to be the runtime, and these extensions are not going to be part of our application, and they're not going to be deployed anywhere. So they just help us to develop things very effectively and quickly. That's what about these extensions. So we have again this HANA SQL Analyzer. So if you have connected with the HANA database, and SQL Analyzer is automatically added onto this one. So this one, while creating instance, I have selected this one. That is why this HANA SQL Analyzer is here. And this one, Git lens, that's fine, we don't need to worry about it. And CI/CD, this is the one which we will be hearing most commonly in WebOps developments. and the CI/CD for automation of Git publish and deployments. And so it is not needed right now. And here we have SAP HANA Database Explorer. So if we have connected any HANA databases that are created on our BTP, and then we can straight away come here and see the catalog of that HANA database here. So we can even develop things, develop the artifacts, the tables, the views, the CDS views, procedures, cron jobs, etc. Everything we can develop using Business Application Studio itself. Okay, so and we have still more here, all the SQL tools and SAP Fiori, Fiori relevant and etc. But that's enough. So what the purpose of this Business Application Studio itself is vast. So whenever we try to develop something, and we can straight away come to Business Application Studio and choose what we are trying to develop. And now let us go ahead and try to create our SAP Fiori application. Click on next. And the another important thing on this Business Application Studio is the terminal. So we will be typing, I don't know why, as people are the development IT industry is thinking about all the GUI based infrastructures and user experience. Again, they have introduced this terminal, whereas we will be typing few commands to deploy our application, or build our application, or log into the Cloud Foundry and etc. But that's how this has been designed. So the terminal we will be using. And if you go here, the terminal, so if we click on this new terminal, the command like a CMD command prompt, it will open the terminal for us, whereas it communicates with the Cloud Foundry environment and the Business Application Studio. Okay, so we will be whenever you read through your blog somewhere, so go to the terminal and type this command and etc. So this is how we launch our terminal on our Business Application Studio. So let me come here, SAP Fiori elements. Let me pick up this list report. Go ahead, and we came up to this place, I guess, yesterday. And in here, let me choose connector system. The system is going to be our BTP ABAP environment. And if you see here, this is the ABAP environment business technology platform. Okay. Let me ABAP environment. Perfect. And it's going to show us what is the name of the ABAP instance. So in the above dropdown itself, it showed us the direct ABAP instance that we created. If we could have selected that one, we could skip this step. So now it shows us the catalog of the services that are available across the system, not on this particular instance, as the SAP, it is a SAP training or demo system. So we will be having access to get all entire catalog that whoever created, irrespective of who created that one, we can easily get all those services. And if we are trying to build based on someone's OData service who already developed, and we have that option to pick those services and develop generate our application as well. So yesterday, the issue what we have faced, we were not able to see this service catalog here. The reason because I was not able to log into Cloud Foundry properly using this command palette here. So if you go to command palette, and in here, if you click on log into Cloud Foundry, that may end up not having the org ID on your login. But to overcome that one, what I did, I used my so if you see yesterday we were not able to see this org ID here, okay, and the Cloud Foundry space by default. If you want to set this one, we can set by default, but yesterday I was not able to see these options. What I have done is I just typed some commands here, cf login. So immediately it asked me my email address. Okay, I gave my email address. Okay, and the password. So as soon as I enter this one, it automatically picked up my org and space, and then it allowed me to browse through my catalog here. So immediately I was able to get this one. So if you come across this issue, then don't forget to use your terminal for your login. And once you log in and once you see this org ID and space, they are automatically set on your account for next time onwards. That's the reason it didn't ask me to log in again. So now in the service place, if you see all these DMO services, if you are following any SAP provided tutorial, so you have all these services available already on your business application studio. You can pick up these services and you can go further and generate the applications if you feel comfortable. And let me pick up our service group here. So this is the group that we have published, and let me search for this one. So yes, so this is what we have published. Okay, trip service definition version 001. So as soon as we pick up our service, it straight away shows the entities for us. So if you see there is only one entity, trip header, that's fine. Automatically add table columns to the display page. Okay, automatically add them. I don't have any issue. Now let me create my project. Trip planner V4. So trip planner V4. So namespace, that's fine. If you want to give any namespace, we can give the namespace. Otherwise, planner. And once I create this one, where should I see in my Explorer here? Yes, that's fine. And if you see here, the UI5 version. So this is where we should be very specific about. So all the customers might not be running on the latest UI5 versions, and whatever the ABAP version that we have created, so it has automatically picked up the version for us 1.105. But this is not the latest version. We have 1.110109, I think. Okay. So, but the customer's system will have the limited UI5 version. It could be 1.90 or it could be 1.96 or something, 1.70 or 1.60. So in our web ID, we have a limitation up to 1.52. But if you look at these versions, it will tell you if there are any versions that are out of maintenance. If you scroll down and if you see out of maintenance versions are these are all out of maintenance versions, but they look like latest, but I don't know why they have mentioned this out of maintenance. So they are said to be out of maintenance versions. So these are all the active and allowed versions. So we can pick up from these versions to develop our applications. Okay, so right now I'll leave this one as it is. And this is another feasibility that we have when we are using Business Application Studio. So in our approach, once we develop the application and deploy it back onto the system, ABAP system, then we were going to the Launchpad designer, and we are just mentioning the semantic object and action and everything, and hence we will be assigning the catalog to the user, and it will be enabled on the Launchpad. But here, if you see, we have an option to configure it onto the Launchpad as well. So what information is needed to configure this on Launchpad? We need semantic object and action. Okay, so those two informations it will be capturing as part of this application, and whenever we try to deploy this one, then it's going to take the semantic object and action along with this application. So whenever we go into the Launchpad, we can use this. So we definitely need not to create a new semantic object and action. Okay, and add deployment configuration as well. So where are you planning to deploy your application? So in this case, we do not have on-premise option, and we do not have on-premise system configured on our destinations of our BTP account. Otherwise, we would be needing to take a decision where we are planning to deploy this application. But in our case, we are trying to deploy this application back onto the BTP platform. So we are not deploying it to any of the on-premise system, but instead we are going to deploy it onto the BTP environment. So this is just selection. In the next screen, next steps, we will be asking to provide the relevant information. So if I click on next, so first it is asking to the deployment configuration. By default, it has selected ABAP for me because there are no other systems configured for me apart from ABAP system. So if you see, so there is a Cloud Foundry and ABAP, but I do not want to deploy this onto the Cloud Foundry environment, but I want this to be deployed onto ABAP system. So that's fine. And SAP UI5 ABAP repository, enter the name for the deployed application. Okay, so UI5 ABAP repository, let me name this one as ZTH 15 characters. It has to be 15 characters. Planner V4, let me say, and deployment description, trip planner, and package, the enter a package name. Come on, what is that? Provide a package name. I would like to pick up my package here, Tara BTP ABAP. So it should show me the package that I have created. ABAP BTP or BTP ABAP? Yeah, BTP ABAP. It's not showing me the suggestion, but BTP ABAP. So how do you want to enter transport request? Choose from existing transport. And not be fetched. Transport request cannot be fetched. Create new, that's fine. Enter manually. I think we have a transport already created for this one. Responsible is this one, and where can I see my transport? Show in last changed by, and I can't see my transport. Z local. Let me give the name as Z local and see if I'm able to skip this step. Nope. Okay, that's fine for now. Let me remove this step. I'll try to find out the transport. Deployment configuration and FLP configuration as well. So we can do those steps running running few terminal commands. So if you see in the right bottom side, so it's just creating the instance for creating the project for us. Okay, so let me choose my development and so now we can see open the folder. So it opens the project in Business Application Studio for us. In our Explorer, we can see the generated application. So Trip Planner V4 has been created. Okay, so I'll close Get Started and let this repository load for us. So obviously, as this is a demo system provided by SAP, we expect some delays on this one. If you have, okay, so if you look at this one, we have the structure a bit different. I mean, the under web app, we know about annotations and local service test utils and etc. But apart from this web app, we see more files have been created, and we will know what those more files and etc. And also these node modules have been created additionally. So These are all the node modules which are supporting this project, so we don't need to much worry about it, as we have used our template. That's absolutely fine. And if you right click on this, you will see the preview application on your web app application. So start Fiori, run local Fiori, whatever it is, and it's going to run few terminal commands, and it's going to open, and there is a pop-up block available, but I will enable this. So if you look at this one, the URL for this testing application, the local host 8080 is the one. If you click on this one, open this, as there was pop-up blocker, I had to click on that one. I think trip planner V4. It's loading. So while it is loading, we can see there are more libraries and things are loading on the business application studio as well here. So these are the things that are happening in the backend. So all those libraries are loading. Come on. One point 105.4, all the node modules that we have seen here, they're all one by one loading to support this application. So loading stopped, and I don't see any UI on this one. Yeah, I think let me stop our web IDE, as I think this is also running on 8080 port. That might also confuse our application. Let me refresh this one. Okay, so now we have seen how we create the application using the business application studio. And if we have any on-premise systems connected to the business application studio, then it will be more quicker, and we can see the results immediately, like how we saw this preview from our practice system. So if you are developing V2 or V4 based services, then go ahead and build all these services on the practice system itself. As this system is taking a lot of time, it will be more hesitating for us. So yeah, that's it for me today. So I'd like to stop here, and we would I will try to find some example application. At least we will try to add that application and how the extensions work using the Business Application Studio. We will see that later. And apart from this, we have the extensibility, S4HANA extensibility outstanding. That for that we do not need a Business Application Studio and like this. But before that, you just try to log into your Launchpad onto our in our practice system, so that we can use the applications effectively. So I think I have assigned you Tara developers role for everybody, but log into your Launchpad and get rid of all the massive roles available there. So where they will kill the performance, and like this we will be needing to spend a lot more time on the Launchpad. So we will be we will be doing extensibility using our Launchpad Fiori applications that are delivered by SAP. Okay, thank you.